Okay. All righty. Maybe I got it squared up this time. Had to kind of do a restart there. Uh, my first little thing didn't work exactly right, so I had to kind of restart the video here, and hopefully everybody will get in here and we can get started with some stuff. Let me had an itchy ear there. But how's everybody on this Sunday morning? Um, hey, Zach, how is it down under? I've been seeing all that big equipment you've been showing on Facebook and a few things. Uh, that one truck was pretty daggum impressive, uh, pulling triples and everything. I never pulled triples. Of course, that's just one more trailer, but boy, that thing had the axles to it, didn't it? With all the tandem axles on the dollies and everything else, and that rear trailer hookup was a little bit odd to me, the way it was done. But y'all gonna have to start driving on the right side of the road. Yeah, that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Yeah, y'all gonna have, that driving on the left side of the road, that would drive me crazy. You got to learn to do it on the right side of the road. Hey, Jim, how are you? Hey, James, Jamie, getting all the J's in here, aren't I? Yeah, yeah. I went to a big time farming auction. Yeah, well, not farm. It's the guy. I'd actually worked with this guy. He was a welder and had a lot of scrap metal and a lot of tools and all kind of stuff like that. And so I went to an auction yesterday. First time I'd been to a sort of a farm auction, you might say, in a long time. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I probably do need to wipe these glasses off. Get everything straightened out. But yeah, I've had a busy week. I bought I bought a new piece of equipment. I actually gonna have to wipe my eye off there too. Hey, Kevin. Uh, oh, I love auctions too. I get hung up in auctions, and this one I know the auctioneer real well, uh, Bob Melton, and I my wife and I went up there and we were inspecting what they had for sale on Friday before the sale on Saturday, just to see if I wanted to go. And there was enough interesting things there that I decided I wanted to go, and I hadn't been there in a while. And I was kidding the auctioneer. I said, "Yeah," I said, "last time I went, I said I bought 2 items, and Bob bought 3 for me because the auctioneer there's a lot." I declare a couple of times he pointed at me and my number, and I didn't even bid on the stuff. And he did me that way a couple of times. He said, "Well, I knew you needed that item," so I said, "Well, don't let me buy too much this week, Bob." But he's a good old guy, and we really enjoy that. I enjoy auctions. I actually came out great on this auction too. I bought a welder, and it was going really cheap. A big Miller welder. It was a TIG and MIG welder, big one. And I knew the guy, like I said, that had all this because unfortunately he's got dementia and Parkinson's both, and he can't do what he's doing. Unfortunately, younger than me too. And I had done some graphics work for him in the years past, and he um, uh, his wife is selling off everything, so I knew the equipment good. And I bought the welder. It went cheap, and some other people that didn't get to the auction on time came up to me and wanted to buy the welder off of me. So I actually sold the welder after I bought the welder and made a profit on that. And I bought, there was one other item I did the same thing. I bought two items, and before I even got them taken away from the auction, people wanted to buy them from me. So I bought two items, sold two items, ended up buying about five things at the auction, and basically financed my auction yesterday for nothing. So it worked out pretty good. Oh yeah, it's hard to pass up a good deal. It really is. Good morning, DL. How are you? Aaron, yeah. Glad to see Aaron in here. Yeah, I'm enjoying stuff like that. I always enjoy auctions and I got started with that when I was young with my dad. My dad loved auctions. He would take us to auctions, and I got kind of, you know, caught up in that kind of mentality and everything years ago. And yesterday when I was there, my brother D, uh, he came to the auction too, him and his son, and uh, it, it's just sort of a family tradition, I guess. Uh, and had my brother Don been able to get out there, he probably would have been there too. It's just one of those things that we loved going to those auctions and dealing with stuff like that. It's a fun thing to do, and sort of a family tradition for us too. So I was glad to be able to do that. I hadn't done it in a long time. Uh, Jim and Larry used to get on to me about going to too many auctions and having all this stuff for them to move around, unload, and pick up and rearrange things. And they always kidded me. You need to put on an auction instead of going to an auction. And one day I may need to do that too. No, I'm not selling my cars or anything, Tim. No, I've got all my cars and we're working hard on that. The 55 over here, the 55 is coming along pretty good, and uh, I took it out for. We need to set the island on a little bit more, a little bit better, and a few things like that. But uh, it's running good. The AC is working good on it. Uh, just one of those things. But no, I'm staying busy with everything. I'm not trying to sell my stuff. The auction stuff was for other auctions I went to, not for me selling at an auction. I was buying at an auction. Yeah. I like pretty much all kind of auctions too, and that sort of stuff. But I've been busy this week, real busy, and went and got some equipment this week. I had a piece of equipment that I'd ordered from Rut Manufacturing. I actually got their shirt on here. I don't know if you can see it or not. I'd have to stand up. But anyway, I bought like I said, that new piece of equipment from Rut, and it came in, and uh, they actually told me it's going to be about 4 or 5 weeks getting it, but they turned it around in about 2 weeks. And it's another cutter and everything from an excavator. And so that by getting that piece, Jim and I had to work on the excavator, and Jim did a real good job of getting the. I had a piece of Lexan, real thick Lexan for I was going to make a forestry door for my from a skid steer, but I've decided against making one. I'm just going to buy one because it's too involved and everything else. Well, I didn't. I've already gone to the auction, and I've actually got some stuff too. Like I said, uh, I bought a welder, then sold the welder. I bought a grinder, sold the grinder, and then I bought a metal pipe. Well, not a pipe bender. It's actually so you can bend different metal. Uh, it's sort of like a pipe bender, but I bought it and a pair of hand trucks, and then the guy was really good at welding up stuff, and he had these adapters to forklifts, and I bought 4 or 5 and then well, I bought 2 or 3 originally. And because I was helping some guys load up their stuff, I had to take my skid steer up there to or my tool cat up there to load the stuff yesterday. And by helping the other people, some of the guys said, "Hey, well, you can have this if you help me load this." So I got a couple other pieces out of the deal, and didn't have really a lot of money involved. Like I said, I sold my biggest purchase, that welder, and then one other. So I I made a profit, uh, and the profit paid for what the other items I bought. So I kind of came out to the good, I thought, and I was really tickled with it. Little work involved, little work involved. I had to load up my tool cat, had load it up, take it up there. It wasn't too far away. It was only about 10 miles away. Drive it about 10 miles and then pick up the product and bring it back with my dump truck and loader. And I got to unload that tomorrow. And yeah, I got an air grease gun. That's one other thing I got. I got a air grease gun and then that pipe bender and then some metal. So I came out pretty doggone good, I thought. I think there's probably, the air grease gun went fairly cheap. I probably got more grease in it. At least I hope it did. I didn't open it up to see, but I hope it's got a decent amount of grease in it so I can use that for the greasing the equipment. Yeah, the wife can't say much uh, when I don't spend her money because we all we all make the money, but it's her money to control. And I say that she's pretty good. She just reins me in so I don't get wild at these auctions and different things like that. And uh, she doesn't want me going hog wild. I mean, I'm aging up. I don't need to be buying a lot of things, but even at my age, I'll see things I want, and I just need to coordinate that with everything else I already have. Hey, Joey, how are you? Glad to see you jump in here. But yeah, Miss Barbara's got like you say, Miss Barbara's keeps me in check. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, most of us with good wives and everything that uh, kind of keep us in check. We want to make sure that we're not going crazy out there. Yeah, yeah. Miss Barbara, she's uh, Barbara is she's a good money manager, so I can't complain. So if it wasn't for her good management, I might be out of money one day. So I have to look at it in a couple different positive ways. I mean, we don't really argue over the money. Uh, I usually just ask her, how much can I spend? I mean, how much will you allow me to spend at this, or and try to be reasonable, and then that way uh, she's not upset with things because I don't need to spend willy nilly on everything. I need to you know be conservative in a certain manner because what monies we have's got to last us for a lifetime. I don't have a job now. Of course, I've got my retirement money, and then I've got other monies coming in on investments. But you still have to uh, look at that in a conservative manner and not go crazy. Yeah, she is awesome, Tim. My wife is, in my opinion, and she's the love of my life. I can't complain at all. She's been very good. Yeah, yeah. My wife is she's a very smart girl. I mean, and I always give her credit for the the smartness of our children too. I mean, uh, my son is was very smart in school, took after his mother. My wife was a valedictorian for her class, very smart in math, very good in math. Ended up being a math teacher for 32 years. Uh, our both our children did well in school, and you know, I can't complain. And our grandson now, Uh, he's headed off to NC State, and he's actually going to skip his freshman year. He has enough credits and other things that he gotten by the advanced courses he was in high school. He's going in as a sophomore. So I mean, I'm super proud of that. I mean, he took a summer class this summer, and then from they have all these placement tests at state and I guess other universities too. And he took those and scored extremely high on them, and he's going in as a sophomore. And I and they give him the credits and everything. He's going in with 31 credit hours, I believe it is, his first day in class. So I mean, I can't you can't beat that. And I'm super proud of him, and I hope he's able to continue on like that, and you know, hopefully school won't be a big burden. I mean, he's good at studying. He ended up in the top or half at top 10% of his class. He was in the top 10, and he he uh, he amazes me. He's a smart boy. Helps me out here on the computer with the plasma. He's drawn up a design. I've got two things to cut out now that he designed for me, and something that Jim and I were working on the excavator, and we needed a piece of metal so we didn't have to buy any more Lexan. Jim had already fixed it up and got the Lexan on the top side, and so I've got that ready to cut out tomorrow morning. When Jim gets back in, we'll load up the plasma and cut it out, and hopefully finish that up, and you know finish up the machine there. It's way to go. Well, I try to be positive, Tim, if that's what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, my grandson is a nice young man. I mean, he's uh like I said, I'm very, very proud of him. He did real well in soccer. He was a well-rounded student. Everything that you would want in a son or a grandson. And I hope he continues on that. You always worry that something might uh, change the path, and they not they won't do things right. But as long as he continues on the path that he's going, he can get his degree in mechanical engineering and get him a job. He's already got an opportunity. He got a scholarship on part of his. He's got a 4-year scholarship from a major company that we hope that he can get an internship with and maybe get a job when he comes back home and and finishes up. So uh, he's got a bright future if everything continues down this path. Oh yeah, you talking about RVT? Yeah, yeah. RVT. He he uh, he's having some medical problems right now too. I noticed. I chatted with him a little bit. He's been out there on the road for a while, and he's having heart problems. I mean, and it does happen as we age, as the guys age. We're gonna have that situation. You're gonna. I know when I came back from New York the other day, uh, I didn't realize, I came back from New York trucker style. Me and my daughter wanted to get back home, so we kind of went nonstop. Just went for regular pit stops and kept on digging. And I didn't get out and stretch too much, and my ankles swelled up on me. And that's a sign of your blood not being able to pump back up. That you're and uh, that's not a good thing. And that's the first time that's ever happened to me. And when I came in, my wife, that's one of the first things she noticed. She said, "Your ankles are swelled." And because I got skinny ankles, that doesn't take much to look at my ankles and tell that they're swelled right quick. No, I'm not still doing the radio DJ and stuff. After I sold my Napa store, I didn't have the incentive to put advertisement out there, and me and the radio, you know, it was sort of a tit for tat thing. I produced a radio show that he liked, and he wanted my radio show, so he and I traded out an advertisement. So that saved me money on advertisement. So when I sold the franchise, the Napa franchise, I didn't really have a need. He wanted me to stay on, and he kept saying, "Well, I'll get advertisement for it and everything, and we'll continue your show." I just didn't really see the incentive, and it was time consuming. I mean, I spent, you know, 6 or 8 hours producing that show every week, and I just felt like that was 6 or 8 hours that I could do something else with, and uh, I, you know, I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it. Well, I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was, you know, something. It was something I was having to do, and I kind of like not having any schedule. The only schedule I keep right now is to have this show on at 9 o'clock each Sunday morning. Everything else is kind of uh, so. You know, I'd live my life. I'm retired, and if I want to get up and do something, I'll get up and do something. Now, granted, saying that, I still get up every day early. I don't lay in bed for 3 or 4 hours. I'm usually up by 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, and up doing things. And me and my wife get started, and I get all my medications and all my stuff I have to do and those sort of things. And so it's a different lifestyle, but I enjoy taking it easy. That's for sure. Yeah. Well, I, I've got high hopes for him, Aaron. I really do. I got high hopes for my grandson. Hopefully, this mechanical engineering uh, degree will take him to new levels and everything. His dad's an electrical engineer, and his my son has done really well as that. And a lot of people ask me, why didn't your son take over the transportation business? Well, he has his own career, and I really didn't want him to do a change of. He's never been adapted to the trucking business, and I wouldn't want him at 50 years old to switch careers just because I had it. And the, I mean, it could have gone on. I could have done that, but I would have had to make him quit his career, and that in itself, I don't, unless he wanted to, I wasn't going to ask him to. Hey, Chris, how are you? Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. Now, I went to New York State is a pretty state. Uh, I I've been through New York City. Don't care for New York City. The New York City, Philly, New Jersey area, all in there, all that crowdedness and everything. You can have all that. I they I've told and I've heard other people say this. They ought to make that part of the country all the way up toward Boston and around. Just make that one state, and then all the rural areas and the rest of the country, and from there over, let them have their states differently, because they really don't define what the political landscape is. I mean, those things are locked in to having one mindset, a leftist mindset, and everything left of that and physically left of it in the country there in Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York and all that is way more conservative. Uh, so it's a different mindset. I mean, you can get out into the rural areas of New York and Pennsylvania and Ohio and all these places like that. They're not they don't have that crazy mindset. Yeah, Chris likes auctions. Chris is uh, Chris is good with auctions. Chris would have loved this. Chris would have had a heyday at this auction I went to yesterday. This auction was right down his alley. I mean, with all the scrap metal and an old bulldozer and old skid steer, old tractors, uh, just just a lot of different things like that. I could see Chris there digging in there, bidding away on this one. I mean, he would have been all about this auction. yeah, yeah. Chris is an auction uh, expert and everything, and from all the auctions he's gone to. Of course, people that don't know, Chris is, of course, Outcast Projects. There, everybody's got to uh, know who Chris is. Hey, Kevin, yeah, you spent all day yesterday running around picking up marketplace finds. Well, that's good too. A lot of people are using marketplace. I've used it a little bit. I need to put some things on marketplace. That's what I need to do, and see if I can't sell some items. But I haven't. I haven't bought. I don't even know if I've. Yeah, I bought one item off of marketplace, but I don't think I bought that, or I I think I've looked at a lot of stuff. Maybe I bought more than that. I don't know. Not much though. Uh, but it's an interesting concept, and seems to get a lot of people going and everything. Now I have to give my good old shout out here to Mike Dirt Boss's business there. I don't know if y'all see that the Tri-State Excavating and Masonry. That's Mike that runs Dirt Boss, and Mike's in here every once in a while. Uh, so when I was in New York, I met up with him and Joey, and he gave me this real nice hat. It's embroidered and everything. I really like this. Is sort of my go-to hat. My go-to clean hat. I try not to. It's tan. It's light in color, so I try not to get it too dirty. I got a couple of Freightliner hats I use when I'm out working sometimes because they got a good sweatband on them, and I come back and they're all the sweatband is just sweaty as it can be. I'm catching up on my reading there, guys. That's what I was doing, making sure I'm not leaving out anybody there. Well, Tim, you're still over in Europe, are you? I thought you would be back stateside by now. Yeah, it's. I like. I don't know if I'd want to be in Europe right now, but I mean, to each his own. We all have different situations. Of course, I'm sort of a stateside guy. I mean, a lot of people talk about wanting to travel overseas and everything else, and I have never. I mean, if I could get there quickly and get out of there quickly, I guess I could, but I've not. I've not really wanted to travel overseas. If I can see everything in the United States that I want to see, I'd be happy. I've been out of the states one time. I went to Cancun, Mexico, and I saw enough difference uh, in culture and everything else that I go. I like the United States. I like the security of knowing what I can do, what I can't do in the United States. And I know that the things like that would be different in other parts of the world too. And I just feel like I'm just going to stay here and be content. I watch the rest of it on the Travel Channel or anything. Long as I got a 70-inch high definition TV and I can pull up YouTube videos and Discovery and travel channels and all kind of different things on TV and see that without having to get out of my easy chair. I mean, that's to me, that's the life right there. I mean, we are inundated with some super technology right now, and I feel like taking advantage of that. And it's like that auction yesterday. I was at the auction, and gosh, it was like 90 something degrees, and everybody was sweating themselves to death, and it was tough, especially after we started getting the product up too. It was really tough. Yeah. Yeah, now my mother-in-law and father-in-law, no, they were big travelers. They went to China and Japan and Australia and, Alaska and Mexico and, South America. I mean, uh, they traveled all over. I mean, they hit about every continent except, Antarctica. And I think if my father-in-law had been in better health, he probably would have gone there too. But I've just not been that way. Now, and Barbara's brother, you know, he's the same way as his mom and dad. He's been to Germany, and he took a fellowship over there when he was learning to be a doctor. I mean, after he was a doctor, and he was learning to be an orthopedic surgeon and some specialty work. He actually took a fellowship uh, on the trauma and trauma work and all kind of stuff and repairing fingers and all kind of different things that he ended up doing the rest of his life. He did that overseas. He did that in Germany, I think, and uh, it's either Germany or Austria. I can't remember, but he really liked it. But you know, it is what it is to everybody. Yeah. Well, I mean, I try to be authentic, and uh, I try to enjoy myself here, and I don't want to, uh, you know, I want to enjoy my life a little more casually right now at my age. If I was younger, if I was in my 40s or whatever, and had the same financial status that I'm at now, I would probably do a little more traveling. But that being said, I don't regret where I'm at and everything, and it is what it is. So I'm not going to complain about it. But you know, everybody needs to uh, do what they want to do. I mean, I'm just not the uh, world traveler like some people are. I, we had some friends that just got back from England, and they went on a tour over there, and they were talking about they had them staying at all these nice hotels. Said, but we couldn't take advantage of anything because we'd get in late in the afternoon. To get in 8 or 9 o'clock, he said they'd go straight to bed, and then they'd have them back up the next morning at 6 o'clock. So I said, well, you could have stayed at the cheap hotel for that because you know all the amenities and everything that they were paying for, and they were paying some high dollar prices at a high dollar hotels over in England and Scotland and a couple of I forget what all they went to, but anyway, sort of a Great Britain, I guess a tour or whatever. And you know that's good for some people, but that's just not for me. I mean, at this point in time, I mean, I know visually when you're at these locations, you're seeing more than you can with a camera and everything else, and you're experiencing more. But that being said, I don't know if I want to experience everything like that. I mean, some of it I will just leave it to my imagination. Sometimes your imagination is better than what you actually see. I mean, that was like me when I went to California the first time. I mean, I always, I kept thinking, hey, Beach Boys, the Surfer Girls, all this sort of great stuff. And I was really disappointed with the beaches in California. I mean, I thought, I said, man, I said, we've got it way better on the East Coast than they do. I mean, they got a cliff and then a little bit of a beach, 5 feet of or 10 feet of beach. I mean, in some areas I know it's wider, but there was not it was not the the setup that I thought that they had in California, and really a misconception, I guess, on my part. So sometimes things like that will put the videos up. I got a few videos of our adventure, and it was fun. Now I didn't take a lot of videos because while you're out and about, I think if you're trying to capture it on camera, sometimes you actually lose the enjoyment of the event itself. So I didn't want to be that kind of guy. I didn't want to miss the enjoyment of the event. So my daughter and I, we took a few pictures and a few things like that, but just getting to see everybody and seeing different things, we had a great time. We had a great time. Well, I definitely am not going to go to Russia and Mexico anymore. Well, I've never been to Russia, and I'm not going to Mexico again. Yeah, and I don't want to fly either. Yep, there's nothing better to be said than home sweet home. I mean, I've got what I feel like is a very beautiful place down here where I live. Uh, I've got a nice 4 or 5 acre pond in my backyard. I got a nice pasture across the way. Uh, we're re-landscaping where our trees were, and we're redoing that, and that's given me a lot of work to do that I want to do. Um, and replant our trees and just re-landscape some things and that sort of stuff. So we're we're excited about that, and that in itself gives me an opportunity to get more equipment, which I love. I love getting more equipment. So it's sort of a double-edged sword for me. Yeah, I know it, Chris. That's what you can do. I mean, you can lose the experience of the vacation by trying to take too many pictures sometimes. Now, I don't mind setting up a camera and kind of leaving it alone, and I've done that before. Just set the camera up, let it roll, uh, and not worry about it. So that kind of situation is pretty good. But if you have to do what it requires to get a good YouTube video out, and most of the guys doing YouTube videos will tell you, I mean, that they spend a lot of time just setting up cameras and making sure that the shot's good and these sort of things, and then editing it and everything else. It can be very time consuming. It can be very, uh, I mean, it's work. It's work. Yeah, and I know, and I try to take some snapshots here and there. And because I'm a YouTube creator, I haven't created as many. You wouldn't believe how many videos I actually do have that I haven't put out yet, and I need to do that. Uh, I was up here the other day, and me and Jim are going over some things, and I need to get that video out. And I've got some backlogs of videos of different things that we've actually done that I need to put out there and get out there and edit. I guess it's my lazy way of not editing. I'll shoot some videos and then I'll be tired and I'll say, well, I'll get to that later. And because I'm not on a schedule and I don't try to put myself on a schedule, it it is what it is. Yeah, yeah, and that's what happens sometimes. I mean, uh, you'll second guess yourself on what should I put up, what I shouldn't put up. And I need to be less critical of that and just go ahead and put it up. I mean, there's some people that are just putting up anything and everything. I don't want to, I just don't want to, I want to critique myself a little bit, but I guess I'm over critiquing sometimes. And you over edit or you over analyze or reanalyze what you've got and you go, does anybody want to see that? And that sort of stuff. But I guess all in all, you need to just go ahead and put up the video and not worry about it too much. Yeah. Well, I tell you, that's the way it goes. Yeah, that's about right, Kevin. Yeah, that's about right. And it's good to be done sometimes with that. Yep, that's true. That's true, Chris. Well, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I've got a little project I need to get to this morning, so I am gonna call it quits after about 45 minutes here, and get on back. Like I said, I've got some business to do, so I better go do that and take care of it. And I'll catch y'all out here next Sunday for sure. But then I'm gonna maybe if I get put the old whip to myself, I'll get some of these videos out. Oh, are you? Well, that's good. Skid steer trenchers, neat thing to have, Chris. Now you're gonna suck me back in here. We'll see you guys. Y'all take care.